So today I'm going to talk to you about AI, because you haven't heard enough and you absolutely need my hot take on the topic. So bear with me. So what we're going to talk today about is the AI expectations versus reality. In JobCloud, the company that I work for, we had some expectations towards how AI and user interaction with AI would work, and we were faced with some realities, and today we're going to discuss it. Right now, it seems like in our private life and at work, everything we talk about is AI, and there is this huge new technology that enters our life, yet again altering it, like many technologies before. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up for a couple of years, I used the rotary phone. Do you know what that is? Yeah, that's great. I am quite that old, but not entirely, because it was Soviet Union, so it was a bit different. Yes. So that technology allowed my mother to parent me on a distance. And by parent, I mean to call me every now and again and tell me to go clean my room, which I obviously ignored because, well, again, distance, she can't really reach me. Yes, and then later on, when I was a teen, the internet arrived. And it gave me the opportunity to apply for the universities in the US, in Austria, in Germany, and consequently stand here before you. All of which I did totally not to get away from my mother and her telling me to go clean my room. But thank you for that. But basically, we are having this new era, new AR era coming, and it's very exciting to see what it will bring into our lifetimes, and I hope that one day we will finally redefine what a lifetime actually means. So as you can clearly tell by a very lengthy preamble of this presentation, my mom was a writer, my aunt was an art historian, and I work in tech field somehow. I have no idea how it ended up here, but I think because new technologies, they excite me so much, and I have a massive FOMO when it comes to it. FOMO means fear of missing out. This phrase was widely used when back in the day when millennials were cool. Not anymore. But yes, here we all are. My name is Aneliya Filatova. You can butcher my name as you want, but it's getting better every time. And this is a brand new promotion. I'm a head of web tracking since 2 weeks. Thank you so much. I appreciate, yes. I'm very proud. I still didn't manage to ride all the wave of yet that, so you're here with my wave. But hey, we are here to talk about this particular topic, and in order to grasp this world of never-ending, seemingly unstoppable opportunities that this new technology gives us, I think it's important to do two things. One is to define your area of influence, and two, to focus on one thing at a time. So shall we do that? Focus on that one thing. Yes, thank you. So we're going to talk about the application of AI in JobCloud, one particular feature, which is basically calculating a job fit score for a user when the user is looking at a particular job ad. So to do that, we will look at JobCloud as a player on the market. We will set the scene. We will also talk in particular how that particular feature functions, and then of course we're going to talk about the feedback that we gathered working with that feature through Moments IQ, and we will look at the feedback from both employee and employer side. So, to set the scene, I would like to introduce JobCloud. JobCloud is a job search platform, and it focuses on Swiss market. To understand JobCloud, I think you need to understand Switzerland. So I would like you to imagine yourself in Switzerland. To do that, what you need to do is that you need to imagine that you sit on a green grass field somewhere with beautiful flowers over there, and I want you to imagine beautiful, stunning mountains all around with like snow on the tops, you know, stunning. I want you to imagine a very crisp mountain air with a slight hint of cow poo somewhere far, far away, and I would like you to imagine like piles of money just lying on that field, just there. So once you imagine that, I think it's very safe to imagine you grasp Switzerland. Yes, and JobCloud is the platform that creates job postings and allows thousands of people apply for a job and look for the next employee. So we have around 7 million people visits per month, which is huge, taking into account that Switzerland has a total population of 9 million. Of course, we also work with France, Italy, Germany, and Austria, and all of the people come to our platforms as well, looking for a job somewhere in Switzerland. We have a huge penetration on the B2C side of the country. Obviously, we have connections to vast media networks within Switzerland and regional job boards and etc. But we also have a very strong connection to the B2B side. We are working with more than 50,000 employers in Switzerland, and mostly we cover huge employers who, of course, offer the most amount of job postings. So that's quite exciting for us to be in the center of Swiss job market, and the fact that we are very locally based allows us to be very approachable for both seekers and employers. So this is the scene. Now we're going to talk about the AI feature. So somehow all of you got employed, and potentially that was through applying for jobs. And I'm very sorry, but you will have to relive that experience right now with me. Bear with me. So when the user comes to our platforms, they have an opportunity to calculate the job fit. Basically, we use an AI technology to analyze the CV of the user and their profile and match it against the job requirements. And then we will display a score or indicator for that particular user to see how well they match the particular job ad. In our heads, our expectations were that that would support the users to basically decide which job ads they want to apply, basically saving them time and effort to only apply for jobs that they're a great fit for and have highest probability of getting hired. But we will see about that. On the other hand, we also have job fit score for the employers. And so what we do there is we also analyze user profile and match it against the job requirements and give an opportunity for the employer to see what are the candidates that are best fit for their role. We thought, and that's what was our expectation, that the users actually, the B2B... too bad. You've seen the slide. Well, it comes back, I think. It's safe to... Oh no, here we go. So basically, our idea was that the B2B customer would then minimize the manual screening process and would focus on best fit candidates, allowing them to fast speed their hiring process. So basically, our expectations were that the B2C customers would apply for the jobs that they're a great fit for, and the B2B customers would hire those that have, great fit for their roles. So, however, we faced the reality of things. Any guesses what that would be? Okay, you just can think of your guesses and you can tell me later. But here goes the reality. So over here you see applicants with poor job fit scores, and here is the number of applications as the job score rises. So it was very fascinating for us to see that there are so many applicants with poor job fit scores applying for job ads. That was not our expectation. In JobCloud, we were expecting people to apply for the job fits, for the job that are fitting them very well. And you might think, okay, but the perfect fit is a quite rare find, so that would explain it. But there are so many AI tools that allow you to alter your CV in seconds to fit any job profile that we were expecting, at the very least, an even distribution, maybe a normal distribution, but not at all what we're observing here. So we were very interested to see how come and why that happened. So we looked further. As you can hear, what you can see is the conversion rate for application of all the users who saw the job fit score versus those who didn't. And you can clearly see that people apply much more likely to a job that they've seen a job fit score to, even though it is low, than those who haven't. Which means that users are fully aware that they are applying for the job fit that they are unsuited for, seemingly unsuited for, and even though they go ahead. Of course, you can see that the perfect fit conversion rates are much higher, right? So users apply confidently when the fit is perfect. But you can still see that there is quite a strong conversion for also poor fit candidates. And so we were very puzzled by this, and we were wondering why. We were wondering why, and we didn't come up with anything better than to ask. And so we started using Moments IQ survey to actually ask that question. So what's the question? We have asked users several things. We asked the users of those who had low fit scores and applied for the job anyways. We asked them why. We asked them if they think that the algorithm didn't analyze their CV properly. We asked them if their CV perhaps doesn't fully capture their skills. We asked them if they just wanted to take a chance. We asked them if they didn't notice the score. We asked them if AI is just not something they trust. And we gave them, of course, an opportunity to give us an open-ended response. I want you to look at that and give me store it in your head, what would be your best bet of why the users applied anyways? Because for me, for sure, I was completely wrong. But, you know, the more you learn. So what we did with Moments IQ templates, we edited it a bit. We made sure that we can display multiple questions in the same module. And we also normalized the questions and answer to make sure that they are language agnostic, to make sure that they are stored in a proper way and are easier to analyze. Yeah? Cool. Everybody got their best guess? Amazing. All right. So how did we set it up? This is like the only semi-technical slide that you will see, so bear with me. So first up, we identified the cases. What we looked at is basically we looked at the users that looked at the job ad and recorded a low fit. And that event went to event database. From there, we created a visitor scope attribute with all the job IDs that the user had a poor fit for. And that through the data layer enrichment sent back to the browser. After, we looked at when the user has been applying for job ads, and then we verified, checked, matched the job ID of the user application against the user attribute. And in case of a match, the survey was exposed. So when the user gave reply to the survey or the user closed the survey, we obviously stopped annoying the user with that as to not to disturb our valuable user flows on the website. All right, got it? Yes, great. So the next thing, in the next slide, is an actual responses. Do you all remember what was your bet? Okay, good. So here are the responses. Who got it right? Well, maybe I'll tell you, and then we get the guessing game. So the top answer, with 39%, is the CV was not analyzed correctly. It ignores parts of my CV. So basically, that is a dig at the technology. That is a dig at the fact that AI feature didn't deliver. With the 38%, just 1% lower, is the amount of users who saw the low fit score and ignored it and decided to take a chance anyways. For me, that's amazing because it encourages people to just go for what they want, people to just take a chance with their future. At 17%, that's actually a really important category because this is the category of people who say that my CV doesn't fully capture my skills. And that is usually a sign of a career switchers, those users who just decide to go a different path at some point in their lives. And those users, the career switchers, those users with transferable skill set usually have the hardest time moving past AI walls, obviously because the algorithm can go so far. And this is definitely something that we will incorporate in our technology as it evolves. And only 6%, a little bit below 6%, state that they just don't trust AI in general. I was expecting a much, much higher number here. But this is what we see, and to me, this is a very positive response because we see that people do trust AI and do want to use it, and just sometimes the technology fails them, but we can get there. Okay, who guessed correctly the top answer? You want to show the hands? Yay! Whose top answer was one of the three? Yeah, that's great. Well, your answer was much better guess than mine because I thought that it will be the 6% thing. And you know. And then you, of course, can read the user comments, right? Because we offer the open response, which I think I totally encourage everyone to do. It's the best and it's so much fun because you see the differences in like because we operate on Switzerland is French, Italian, and German market, right? So you have the differences in national specificities. You know what I mean. Specifics. Here we go. That was much easier. That you can accustom to. And one of the responses stated, "Ich entscheide mir selber," which in passive-aggressive British way would sound something like, "Oh, I should like to decide for myself, thank you." So that means that the people just wanted to have an autonomy over their decision-making in their life. On the French side, you see people applying for job ads without any experiences and stating that I'm just passionate about fashion. And I was like, same girl, same. Anyway, so you see so many differences. There are a lot of people who commented on the fact that AI was not working properly, that their CV was not fully captured. One person wrote that the CV analysis haven't worked properly since January 2026. So that sent our engineers into stress heaves. But yeah, well, I mean, there is the life of engineer, I guess. So now we can discuss what employers say about the job fit feature. Any guesses how that might go? Okay, hold on to your guesses. Here's how it went. So here you can see that the positive response rate, obviously in green, raises as the job score rises. So you see you have quite a few share of positive responses for higher fit candidates. However, in my head, people with very poor scores still got significant amount of positive responses on the B2B side. So to me, that was quite interesting to see. And if you look a bit further into the Sankey diagram, that is particularly fascinating. Because even people with poor fit scores manage to get and attract attention of employers and move on to the next stage. Why? Perhaps because the on-paper fit doesn't really fully capture the human being, and there is something more to every person that attracts employers' attention. It is also very interesting to see that you have good and moderate scores that actually lead to people being attracted in a much more so scale than the positive fit. And I personally think it's because, sometimes a person with diverse interests and diverse experiences is just a bit more interesting conversation partner, a bit more exciting to talk to than someone that is like absolutely on the same path all their lives. And then if you look at the perfect fit, it's also not that flawless as you can imagine, because you would think that people with perfect fit would definitely go to the second stage, but no, you see a large scale of them just never ever making it to the second round. And the amount of the perfect fit candidates that make it there to the next stage is quite low. And you might think why, and I do think it's because the diversity of the human experience is something that is more valued right now, or maybe perhaps perfection is just too boring. So to me, this was very fascinating, and I think that technology, it always in some way subtly mirrors what it is to be a human. And I think it's exciting for me to see that like in real life, like in maybe perhaps your dating history, sometimes we give chances to people we probably shouldn't have, but it ends up working out. And for me, it did anyways. Thank you so much. Thank you.